Now, it's been a very embarrassing year for Disney without a doubt. 2023 has been nothing more than a failure after the other for Disney on all fronts, whether it be movies, Disney Plus, their stocks, their parks, their merchandise, and a whole lot more on top of that, including the corporate ladder nonsense that's been going on between Iger and the board and the constant shakeup throughout all of 2023. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's happening with Snow White 2024 and why this is absolutely humiliating for Disney about what recently just happened for their major strategy, their major plan essentially that was cancelled and completely scrapped. Now, as you all know, Bob Iger and the board, they are scrambling and are trying to salvage this movie through re-edits, through rearranging scenes and improving the pacing and the running time of the film. And I've said this numerous times, no matter what you do with this movie, no matter how many alterations you do or re-edits you pursue, nothing will save this movie as long as you have Zegler as Snow White and the 7 magical creatures, aka what were supposed to be the 7 dwarfs, that now range in multiple heights, different genders, and consist of multiple ethnicities. Now, moving onwards, we know that Snow White 2024 was supposed to get an official trailer and a sizzle reel at this year's D23, and just recently, Disney actually pulled out and canceled all said plans for a very specific and alarming reason, at least for them. Now, specifically, when we look at Disney and exactly what they are trying to accomplish right now, given that Disney, of course, for Snow White 2024 is falling into more serious issues, one major development has to do with their marketing strategy. The ultimate decision that was recently made between Iger and the board was to cancel the official trailer of Snow White and any kind of significant footage for the film at this year's D23 event to showcase to the public. The board reportedly canceled their plan for the trailer to debut at D23 just 3 days ago, as it turns out, and did this as a result of the growing backlash as they begin to re-edit the entire film from start to finish with the help of director Marc Webb and the editors. Disney reportedly is also revising their cost plan for their future TV spots and ads for Snow White 24 and will be doing massive cutbacks on those as well to prevent further backlash, with the trailer now aimed to drop, get this, around the holiday season. Their new plan to promote Snow White before the trailer drops is to tease the main characters of the film through various posters that will be teased online around the end of October leading into early November that will consist of the first look at Zegler's appearance as Snow White, Gal as the evil queen, and even a tease of the new poisonous apple for Snow White 2024. Disney is also cutting back on more footage of the 7 magical creatures from the current cut of the trailer and the entirety of the movie, and which is going to be fully re-edited now as a result of the trailer delay. Now guys, let me just stop here quick because there's more to really discuss about this because it's an ongoing thing. We know that Disney is getting very frightened over Snow White, and this is a direct reason why we are not getting the official full-length trailer of Snow White at D23 as much as I had hoped. I was really hoping. They were almost there, but then they pulled it out completely at last minute. And it wasn't just Snow White, by the way, guys. This was also universal for a lot of their other films as well, but Snow White was going to be their real big reveal, and they notice that the backlash is not backing off, and they don't know how to escape it. And look, if I were them, I would pull a Batgirl. I would just scrap this movie, lock it up in a vault somewhere, and never have it see the light of day. No cancellation from only theaters and putting it on Disney Plus, no. Have it never see the light of day, and just lock it up somewhere, just like Batgirl. So that's what they have to do to really save their image. That's the only way possible. As hard as it is for Disney, they really don't know how to actually understand their core audience. This is why I think Disney deserves everything that they are getting, and this is exactly why Disney had what's coming to them. So, moving to the next big thing about all of this is where things get even all the more involved, because it has a lot more to do with the strikes as well. We know that they want to promote this movie, they want the actors to talk about it, they want them to go on late night television, they want the whole 9 yards. And so they're really not sure whether or not they want to drop a trailer and announce the release date to everybody, even though we know the release date, but they want it out there on footage. And they're not quite sure if they even want to do that yet, because they're also now trying to decide whether or not they want to even delay this movie. That's another factor into why this plan, this strategy by Disney was ultimately cancelled. And we talked about how the board members are deciding whether or not they want to delay this film, and if they do, they will be delaying it until June of 2024 as opposed to March. June, for some reason, they want to move it up to that point. There's obviously some kind of reason behind that, but moving to the next thing. Now, Bob Iger and Disney are also canceling specific announcements that they had planned for Snow White that was going to be made public during the first week of October. This was ultimately canceled as Disney begins to get cold feet on the film. This was also related to how the movie is going under hefty re-edits for both the first and third acts of the movie in order to improve pacing and running time, as originally the film was nearly 3 hours long in length. Disney also pulled plans for Bob Iger to make a special presentation for Snow White at D23 that would announce more details about the film, such as the setting, year it's based in, and more like character names. Now, we discussed about the 7 magical creatures. There's an alteration on their names in comparison to the 7 dwarfs that you all know and love in the 1937 original. From what it sounds like, they won't be your traditional names like Sleepy, Grumpy, stuff like that. It really wakes you up and realizes that Disney has no care in the world about source material. They did this with Star Wars, by the way. They completely ditched the expanded universe. They don't care at all. And they tried to do rehashes of this and that, of the original trilogy, and threw it into the sequels. It just was a big mess. Even Bob Iger, by the way, admitted to that about The Force Awakens, that they played it very safe, that they took a lot of aspects from A New Hope just to play things safely, to make it very familiar, just to kickstart things off for Star Wars. So I think that that is in their nature nowadays. It's all about just not doing anything truly original, and if they are adapting something, they ditch the source material. That's what they're really all about. It's quite, counterproductive. When they want to be original, it's all for the wrong reasons, right? So, Bob Iger, worst CEO of all time over at Disney, in my book. That's just my opinion. Whether you guys think it's Chapek or Iger, I would love to hear below in the comments and what your reasons are behind that. We'll call it the Battle of the Bobs. Everyone likes to use that, way of saying the Battle of the Bobs. Both Bobs, to me, were bad. But I think that Iger really tops the list because he was directly involved with all of these box office failures and flops. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.